The homie Oh Gosh dropped a new video, and I think we're gonna take our time and actually go through and look at it real quick. Y'all let me know what y'all think about videos like this. We'll see if we're gonna do them in the future. So let's go ahead, jump into this video.
What's up, guys? Oh Gosh Leotus here. And before you skip this video, I promise you this is not one of those corny vlog videos where I'm explaining, oh, this is what I do in the morning. I wake up and make a breakfast. Nah, this is not one of those videos. This is me explaining the day I switched over to Ableton from FL Studio. One day I woke up feeling like I needed change. Wasn't sure what that change was going to be, but I knew I would figure it out as I go through my day. My days usually go the same. I get up, freshen up in the bathroom, go to the kitchen, make a coffee, cook some eggs. Sometimes I even make some Eggos. And I get my day started with some music.
I think that's like every producer routine. Like even myself, I get up in the morning, walk the dogs, cook breakfast, get ready for the day. First thing I'm doing, I'm in here either making beats, editing videos, or something like that. So I feel like that's the daily routine for every producer.
I open up FL Studio and I get to cooking. I've been using FL Studio for 14 years now, and I feel like I know like the back of my hand, but this day felt different. I've accomplished a lot using FL, but because of that, it started to feel like work.
I relate to this so fucking much. Y'all just don't know. So if y'all don't know, I used to use Logic Pro hard and heavy. Logic is my go-to DAW. I've been using that since 2011. That's been like my baby for forever. That's what I really got serious using. But last year I switched over to Studio One, and honestly I switched over just to get something new, a new feel, new vibe, new something. Honestly, that's the only reason I switched over. So I relate.
I no longer felt like that 15-year-old kid that discovered FL and just wanted to make music for the fun of it. And I really wanted that feeling again. On September 24th, 2021, I visited the Ableton website and I sat there and contemplated if this was the change that I needed. Before I bought it, I went back and forth with myself and was like, maybe I don't need it. Maybe it's just an off day. Maybe this is just, you know, like any other Monday. I don't know if it was a Monday, but it felt like a Monday. Was this the change that I needed? Was this going to get me out of my creative rut? Am I about to become the person I hated, which was an Ableton user? I'm kidding. I didn't hate Ableton users. But yeah, this is the day that I switched over to Ableton.
I wonder, do any of y'all feel like that sometimes? Like you want to buy something, but you can't justify it in your head, really? Because I was like that a lot. Only reason I switched over to Studio One and not any other DAW is because I already had PreSonus gear, and PreSonus give you a copy of Studio One. Is it Lite? Studio One Artist. That's what it was. So I already had a free copy of Studio One Artist, and I just used the code and downloaded it because I already had the gear. I was like, let me give it a shot. And I only heard good things about Studio One. So I gave it a shot. I liked it. And what really drew me to it, what really made me stick with it, was the workflow. So I want to know, is there any purchases out there that you got that you really couldn't justify it, but you got it anyway? Y'all let me know down in the comment.
Now, I'm going to get into a few things that kind of locked me into Ableton. And one of the first things that you see, obviously, when you open up Ableton is the interface. Now, at first, it was intimidating opening up Ableton for the first time and just seeing this super blank canvas and like not knowing where to go at first. But once you start using it for like, you know, like an hour or so, you start to realize that it's actually easier than it seems.
Man, Oh Gosh is nice with the beats. I swear he's nice with those beats. If y'all haven't checked out Oh Gosh, definitely check out his channel. He be live streaming. He's dope with the production. I'm telling y'all, especially with the drums.
I also like how ergonomic and futuristic it feels. And it's just clean, and just being able to change the feeling and of how it looks, as far as like you can do, you know, like different color schemes with your Ableton and stuff like that. It just feels intuitive, and getting it to match the vibe of your studio or match the vibe of how you create. I'm a very bright person. I would say, like, everything in my room, as you can see, is white, and it just feels open in here. Like the sun is always coming in, and I was able to match that vibe with Ableton. So the interface,
I can see that.
It's perfect. Another thing that really caught my attention was how you're able to edit audio in Ableton on the playlist. The playlist is mad intuitive. Like, whatever your mind is thinking as far as editing audio, you can do that. Like, there's no boundaries. Just using audio in Ableton is just way easier. Another one of my favorite things in Ableton is the automation. So if anyone has ever done any type of automation in FL, it can get really messy really fast. If you don't pay attention, you can really get lost with the automation. But in Ableton, it's just so organized and way easier to use. Like, as soon as you click a parameter, once you're in automation view, you can edit accordingly to how you want to do it.
He got me wanting to try it. I'm not even gonna front. He really got me wanting to try Ableton right now. But I'm happy with Studio One. I really am happy with Studio One. And I do have Logic on the back end. And I feel like the same thing he was saying about automation is the same thing I feel like as far as drag and drop with Studio One and Logic, honestly. I feel the same way. The workflow in Studio One is so much easier than it is with Logic. I don't want to go back using Logic, but I do have it because I work with some artists that use Logic. So I have Logic so I can work with them a lot easier.
So mixing, I would say at first was a little tough. I feel like if you're not paying attention in Ableton, when it comes to mixing, you can easily mess up the way your session sounds. But I will say that it did make me a better mixer when it comes to making beats or even doing full-on tracks. I feel like everything in there is very sensitive and true to sound whenever you're even using a stock compression or stock EQ, saturation, whatever it is that you're using in Ableton. So getting a good mix in Ableton, I'm not gonna say it's hard, but it's honest. The last thing I want to talk about is the plugins, actually, in Ableton. The plugins are actually really good. And even if you use any third-party plugins of any sort, just being able to organize your plugins the way you would like to organize them, like, the possibilities are endless. You can use so many plugins on your chain and just create something wild.
I didn't use Ableton, but I looked at a couple other people use it, and it looked confusing to me, especially when it came to the mixing side of things. It looked confusing, and you have to use the channel rack and do things that way. It looked confusing. It may not be confusing if I actually sat down and use it. Like I said, I'm happy with what I got. Everything he said so far, I relate to as far as why he switched.
As far as the plugins go, there's a whole lot more I would love to talk about, but I do want to leave Ableton as a mystery for you to find out. You go ahead and grab a demo of Ableton and you let me know what you think, and if what I said is valid to you. So with that being said, is Ableton better than FL? I don't know. I'll let you guys decide that in the comments down below. You let me know what you feel about Ableton compared to FL and vice versa. I don't have an answer. But what I will say is that everything that you can do in Ableton, you can.
The answer is easy. The answer is Studio One. That's the answer.
Also doing FL, it's just different processes and different workflows. You can still make beats, you can still create full-on songs, you can still score to film. Me personally, it's just way easier to do it in Ableton. I think it goes for really any DAW. Like, things are going to be easier to do in certain DAWs, whether it's FL, Ableton, Logic, Pro Tools, Cubase, whatever.
I'm upset he didn't name Studio One. Like, I'm upset about that. I'm about to dislike this whole video just because of that now.
Choice these days. And I'm just explaining my experiences with you guys. Let's stop the Ableton and FL Studio war. You can use it all, because I use it all. Ableton is my DAW choice. That was why I switched over to Ableton.
Yeah, definitely show him some love. Definitely show him some love. I'm going to leave a link to the video down in the description. If you like this type of video, let me know. And forget the DAW war. Use what you want. Use what worked for you. Only thing that matters is workflow, honestly. Long as the workflow works for you, that's all that matters. So let me know what DAW you like down in the comment. Like this video. Definitely go check out Gosh, like his video. And I'll check y'all out later. Deuces.